Welcome back to Hiking with Kathleen. In today's video, I have some really interesting hognose snake footage. It shows you why this is such an interesting animal. Now, I have been hiking for the last few days, and yes, the mosquitoes are pretty bad. Right now, they know there's a meal ticket right here. But so many other animals are active in spite of the fact that mosquitoes are quite plentiful right now. Stay tuned. So on a hike a couple of days ago, it was fascinating, beautiful sunshine. I ended up coming across a little clearing in the forest, and there was a hognose snake that was basking in the sun. They're fascinating snakes. They have interesting adaptations that help them to avoid predation, being eaten by other animals. So I'm going to go through and show you how I found it. I did pick it up. I'm very much opposed to picking up wildlife. I don't wear bug spray, but in this particular case, it moved away from me and I wasn't able to film it during the time it was on the pathway. But I wanted to show you some of its features, including the adaptations and how it avoids getting eaten by predators. I love being able to hike along the Thames River. There's such an interesting array of wildlife. Spiny softshell turtles are a great example, and you often will see them basking in the sun on the areas of the river that aren't easily accessible. So they know what they're doing. But this is also the time of the summer when the forest becomes quieter, barring the sound of moving water. And that's because birdsong serves a very important purpose. Birdsong is what oftentimes male birds will use to attract a mate and then to defend his territory while the female is nesting. So these are the reasons that it's very, very busy with birdsong, May, June, and July. But we are now finishing the first week of August, actually entering the second week of August. And so the forest has become a lot quieter. There are some birds that are still singing. The eastern towhee, a great example. Had a chance to see that just a couple of days ago. So it's just it becomes quieter, and it's not for any bad reason. It's just that now birds are preparing, they're feeding their young. They're getting their young to the point where if they're a migratory species, the young are ready to fledge and look after themselves. So there's a cormorant that just landed in the background, kind of photobombing us. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to continue along this journey. You never know, I might be able to catch up with that cormorant at another point in the film. But if not, I'm sure there'll be some other interesting things for us to look at. I'm wondering if you've ever heard of the term, which is, it's a technique, it's sort of a de-stressing technique called sound therapy. And some people will do it in the form of instruments that are very soothing to listen to. Well, I guess without knowing what kind of technique I was using, ever since my retirement 4 years ago, I've been coming out for some sound therapy in the forest. And that is where I hear birds singing, and if it's the river that's moving, or if it's the sound of bushes that are cracking because then there's an animal making those sounds, it's a matter of becoming more attuned to your environment. And that's something that's been a really great de-stressor for me. It's something that I guess is gaining wide appeal. In fact, I was just reading about it in today's national newspaper in Canada called the Globe and Mail. But there's also a technique called forest bathing, and that is where it becomes an immersive experience as you pay attention to the things that are around you without any sort of timelines, to just focus on, you know, leaves, insects, deer, whatever it is that's making their way into your presence. So those are really great ways of being able to spend time in nature. Helps us to reconnect not only with nature, but with ourselves. So you can see that I had to break down and zip myself into my bug shirt, including my hands. According to the weather reports, we have had the most rain in July ever recorded. And so what that did is that created an ideal habitat for mosquitoes to have pools of isolated bodies of water where they could breed. And so that's what's happened. If it's a place like the Thames River, this isn't where mosquitoes are as plentiful, but the pools of water around certainly are. And the reason is because you've got fish and other predators in here that clean up mosquito larvae. But in those isolated bodies of water, you don't have a lot of things that are going to eat mosquito larvae. So I am going to be heading home shortly. I've enjoyed the sights and sounds along the way. I hope you have as well. It's just such a peaceful thing, being out here in nature, listening to nature's sounds, the water, the birds, the movement of animals, and being able to see anything that presents itself. So I hope you've enjoyed that today, and I hope to see you next Tuesday morning. Bye for now. Sometimes we reflect back on the things you did with the grandchildren.
Yes.
And one of the things you used to enjoy doing when you would take them for a walk is you would go nodding. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand what that is. Can you tell us what nodding is?
Nodding is when you do that, you acknowledge their presence, and the children will nod, and then when they go home, they said they'd nod at people as they go along. That's how they showed respect to people. They weren't nodding, they acknowledged their presence, you see. Yes.